at the Painted Canyon Visitor Center, right next to the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. There's the Badlands out there. We'll take a closer look at that later. Right now I'll head into the Visitor Center. Yeah, it just came out of the Visitor Center there. Walk out here to this overlook. There's a pretty good view, I think.
You don't think it's pretty? Let's have to take a picture. Oh, yeah.
Here, let me take a picture, guys.
Dad, has anybody been down there?
I bet.
Look at that.
Move in.
Come on, look at that.
Move in. Katie, you have to move in like 3 feet. Nikki. Happy Christmas.
Dad, I want to take a picture.
The other way, let's
Did you see horses? They're over there, but you gotta come around. There's 3. Look through your binoculars too. I don't know if you can zoom
There
in.
they are.
There's 2 adults and a pony baby.
Yeah, I see it.
You got your binoculars with you?
No,
Oh.
this zooms in better.
Oh, okay.
There they are.
Yeah. Still 3, or are there 4 now? Oh,
Oh, I don't know. People stand in the way.
move over.
Gosh.
Move binoculars over here, because Carl or Andrew has 2 of them.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
now. And 2 gray ones, the smaller gray ones to pull.
I'll walk over to this sign here. I'm going to take a picture of Gloria Andrew and this sign here. There's the visitor center there.
Probably not.
The interstate. We're in Medora right now. Just parked here. And go over to the tourist information up here. Just gonna take a walk around. It's a nice small little town.
Might be a few more feet taller.
Okay, here, this is Medora. That's the street we parked down in front of a church, a small little church. Andrew and I went to a bookstore there. Just looking down another street in here in Medora. The entrance to Theodore Roosevelt National Park's down that way. We're gonna go through these shops here. Train going by here, right by Medora.
Now there we go.
Probably.
Now can you manage to get off of there without hurting yourself? And there you go, just bucking him off. There.
You want to ride?
No thanks. And now he'll unplug it.
Yeah. That must be why it's unplugged. It won't stop.
I guess so. Cheap entertainment though.
Technically, has been discovered here. But despite all the hullabaloo, I don't put much faith in these ventures. Marquis has already invested hundreds of thousands with nothing to show for it. First, he wanted to raise cattle on a large scale, then sheep, then horses, then everything together. But it didn't work. The sheep died, the horses were sold off as soon as possible, and the cattle were slaughtered. Those that hadn't already died, yeah? Last year, he tried a freight line between Medora and Deadwood in the Black Hills, where there's no railroad yet, where there are large gold and silver mines. He called it the Medora Stage and Forwarding Company. But nobody bit on that because they could get their supplies faster and cheaper elsewhere. He tried a mail line as well, built stations for changing horses, bought 4 Concorde coaches. painted U.S. mail on them in black and gilt lettering, and gave them names. Dakota, Deadwood, Kitty, and Medora. And it cost a heap of money. But that venture has quietly passed away now. It didn't recover its costs. I'm truly sorry because until the 19th of May, I had a very agreeable job as station master, about 80 miles south of here, on the Grand River. Only 12 horses to look after, and I had to change horses when the mail coach arrived, which happened 4 times a week, that was all. Otherwise, I was my own master, nobody living within 50 miles, and excellent hunting. I could have stayed there 100 years, yeah? I was idle for a week. But since the first week in June, I really had to put my back into it. I'm working in the brickyard now, south of town, for Peter Book. It pays the best wages, $2.25 a day. I don't have any desire to work in the slaughterhouse. They give you only the dirtiest jobs, if you have no experience. Yeah. But I'd better stop talking now. I've got to go cook supper. I'm sharing quarters with 2 Germans, all of us bachelors, and I've taught myself how to cook so well that I would be bold enough to cook at Mr. George Fitzgerald's new Metropolitan Hotel. I can't quite manage bread baking. Either I let it go too long or too little, and I often burn it. But last Pentecost, I baked a Kuchen that was ausgezeichnet. First rate. So, I have enjoyed talking with you. Auf Wiedersehen. Or in American, I'll see you later. Auf Wiedersehen.
This hotel that you see here is a replica of the original hotel that stood here. But before it was called the Rough Rider Hotel, it was called the New Metropolitan Hotel, owned by a man named George Fitzgerald. And you could stay there for 50 cents a night. Talk about the good old days. Now, a famous man stayed there. I wonder if you could help me out with his name. Teddy. Theodore Roosevelt. You're a very lucky woman. Theodore Roosevelt stayed here, and when he went off to fight in Cuba, they changed the name to the Rough Rider Hotel in honor of him. Now, in the 1960s, when Harold Schaefer came through here, it had gone through so many proprietors and so many different changes that he decided they were going to tear it down and build up a replica. They had to go through like 7 coats of varnish to find what the original one looked like. That's how bad it was. Now today the interior is changed, of course, but you can still stay in the replica of the room that Theodore Roosevelt stayed in for $100 a night. And I hear it's really nice. So, now why do you think Theodore Roosevelt came out to the Badlands?
Hunting.
Hunting! Yes, exactly. In 1883, he came out at the same time as the Marquis to hunt himself a buffalo. However, by the end of his hunt, his friends had convinced him that he needed to do Medora ranching. And so he wrote out a $14,000 check for the Maltese Cross Ranch, also called the Chimney Butte Ranch, and you can see a nice tour of the cabin inside the park. He did not have $14,000 in the bank. He had considerably less than that. But he had what everybody should have, an Uncle Robert, who covered all his debts. Not an Uncle Sam. He helps me out with mine. And so he was able to do ranching here. However, in 1884, he had to leave Medora, North Dakota because of a personal tragedy. His wife and mother died on the same day in February. In order to recover from his grief, he came again out to the Badlands and started the Elkhorn Ranch. And you can see that site within the park. Do you have any questions? Oh, you guys are a good group. All right, we're going to keep walking then. Medora, before going out to his ranch, he would stay up in that upper room, it is said. Now this statue is not Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the Marquis de Moraes. It is a man named Harry V. Johnston. And you're probably wondering, who in the world is Harry V. Johnston? He was a Bronco buster until 1915. He made the Oklahoma Cowboy Hall of Fame. He lived out here on a ranch in Medora, North Dakota. and he owned some culvert factories in Minnesota, and that's how he made his money. Now, he wrote 2 books called My Last Roundup and My Home on the Range, and they're supposed to be detailing the historical life of Medora, North Dakota, what it was like back then. Unfortunately, and if you get any of the locals started on this, he just took a small kernel of truth and wove a story around it. And if anybody knows the facts, it just drives him crazy to read it. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, according to that, he's only 16 years old? Or?
This is how long he was a Bronco buster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so for 16 years.
Okay.
Alright. Well, if you don't have any questions, we'll continue our walk. If you ever wondered what the Marquis de Moraes looked like, there he is in all his glory. That statue was shipped from France in 1926 by his son, Louis. Now the Marquis, after Medora, went on to live a wildly fantastic life. He tried to do an Indochina railroad. He tried to get into politics in France. He ultimately tried, at the end of his life, to run the British out of North Africa. And while doing so, he tried to unite the tribes against them. And while he was going through the Sahara Desert, his trail guide shot him in the back. He was 37 years old. Medora was incensed. She brought the 2 captives, the natives, to justice. However, nobody knows if there was any political background of the French government against it or anything like that. They're still uncertain about it. Medora herself came back here in 1907. Spent 6 weeks out here in her hunting cabin, had a marvelous time, then ultimately left Medora forever. She went on to France, to her Paris home, where during World War I, she turned her house into a hospital, and she sustained a shrapnel injury which led to her demise in 1921. She and the Marquis are both buried in France. There are no living members of the de Moraes family at all. The last one died, I think, in the 80s. Now this park right here is built by not the de Moraes family, but a family very dear to Medora, the Civilian Conservation Corps. On this side, you get a little bit of shade. Hey, you notice in the picture this cabin was much larger than the original ranch house. It was actually much larger than most buildings in the area. Floor space alone is twice the size. And when you add that high-pitched roof, which allowed an attic to be formed, it's twice as tall as well. Now, Theodore Roosevelt was from New York. This is reminiscent of Eastern-style homes to have that high-pitched roof. And he thought it'd be a really good place to have either the managers or some of the ranch hands want to sleep up there instead of in the old ranch building. And he also thought they could store things up there. And that's a really good theory. It just doesn't work very well for this climate, because the more roof you have, the more heat you lose. So it got very, very cold in the winter. And conversely, in the summer, you have all that area being heated by the sun, and then you're cooking down below, so it got very, very warm in the summer. So it ended up being mostly just for storage and not very energy efficient. Now it has some unique features on the outside, such as milled shingles. For that time period, you did not spend money on your home. You spent it on buying your cattle, getting out here, horses, provisions, things like that, but you put only your time and labor into the cabin. So the milled shingles cost a little bit extra, so that's really points out, oh, this is a luxury home. Now the logs themselves are special, but that just happened to be timing. These are ponderosa pine logs from the ponderosa pine forest 25 miles south of here versus the cottonwoods that are readily available. Now that's because the railroad was cutting ties down there, because ponderosa pine lasts a lot longer than cottonwood, so they can't constantly be replacing the railroad. And as they were floating them up the river, a group of Native Americans was spotted. Crew didn't wait around to see what they wanted. It turned out they wanted to trade for salt, but there had been, just a few short years before with Battle of the Little Bighorn and a lot of controversy, so they just abandoned everything and left. Well, the ranchers went down, picked up all these great logs ready to go, and had them to build from. Now, I've mentioned cottonwood doesn't last very long. Actually, when it's on the ground subjected to moisture, it only lasts about 10 years before you'll start to notice rot. With the exception of the base logs on this cabin, these are the original logs, 120 years later. So there's a big difference there. Okay. We'll step closer and look at some of the details on the cabin. Actually on the door, but it is throughout on all the logs as well. Now, most of this happened when it went on tour. I mentioned inside it was originally 7 miles south of here. Well, during President Roosevelt's term was also the centennial for the Lewis and Clark expedition. So in 1904 it went to St. Louis, Missouri. 1905 it went to Portland, Oregon. 1906 it came back to Fargo, North Dakota for the State Fair. Later that year it was moved to the Bismarck State Capitol grounds, and then we finally got it in 1959. And I said most because there is one original piece of artwork. The Maltese Cross. Sylvain Ferris, one of Roosevelt's managers, took some .45 Sharps rifle cartridges and pounded them in the shape of the brand. Unfortunately, as people were leaving their mark, they thought they should take something away as well. And they took all of them with the exception of one, which is way up in the corner, and it's broken, which tells us that somebody did try to pull it out, whether it was the first one or something, and it just broke. Now, very unfortunate because those things lose their value. You cannot prove that it came from this cabin. There's no way to prove that, so it loses all value afterwards. So it's very unfortunate that that happens. But it does happen to lead into our conservation message of don't touch anything. When we go inside, there are several original pieces, and a lot of things are from that time period. So we don't want to touch anything, because even the oils in your fingers can cause damage over time, and as you can imagine, we have a lot of people who come through here every day even, and once it starts getting aged, we don't want to cause any more damage. So we'll actually go around to the side door and enter through the kitchen. I think it's small enough group we can just talk a little while in the kitchen. Usually they're big enough to have to get everybody in the main room right away. Well, there's a lot of stuff in this kitchen. There's a very large stove with a water reservoir in the back. There's Dutch oven, tea kettle. There's all sorts of, little fry pans and skillets and bread pans. There's even a waffle iron. Normally, all you needed was a Dutch oven and a coffee pot. That was typical ranch style. Here we got all those extras, primarily just because Theodore was used to more and he had the wealth from his family to have the extras here. Now they actually kept a small garden for him, which you're actually on the trap door at the moment. Just keep a small cellar, put them down there. They actually kept a couple dairy cows as well, which was extremely unusual for open range country. People actually came to his ranch to get milk and butter. So very different. This, of course, is the ladder right on the back here. A little difficult to see with this door here. And the trap door, this is your access up to the loft. There is a door from the outside. You wouldn't typically, have a rope or climb up the outside. That's just for ventilation. Or if you had to lift something heavy that you were going to store up there, it would be a lot easier to do that than trying to wiggle it through there.
How tall was Roosevelt?
5'8".
I was just looking at the top of the doorway there. I guess he'd get through all right.
Yeah, my height without my hats. This is sticking up a little bit, but yeah, 5'8".
I'm gonna runt.
All right, we'll go in here. There's quite a few unusual things as well. There are interior walls. The reason you didn't have those in most cabins was, one, they were half the size and it would just be like a waste of space to try to divide it. And also because it's very labor intensive to split the logs because you'd have to do all that work yourself, so you usually didn't bother. Same thing with the floor, it's just labor intensive. You wouldn't spend all that time to do it, you'd be out working on other things. Now furniture, there's lots of furniture in here. Again, if you just had a small cabin, you wouldn't be able to fit it all. And normally, whoever was the handiest on your ranch is who made the furniture. However, Roosevelt, the railroad came through, he had the money to pay for it, so he got a few extras. Now there's a few other things in here that, of course, since I know about them, really stand out to me, but is there anything that you maybe didn't think you'd see in here?
2 rocking chairs.
Yeah, the 2 rocking chairs. A nice glider and a rocker. The rocker to the far left is actually from his Elkhorn ranch. And I have to say that because we can't prove he owned it. It was either his or one of his 2 managers he lived with. But it was there while he was. And we know that Roosevelt really liked rocking chairs because there's tales of him getting so excited as he's talking with people that he actually rocked around the room. So, very excited man.
The clock.
And the clock's pretty fancy. It actually has an alarm in there as well. So, and that's one of the ones that is from the time period. It wasn't actually in the cabin. Or we can't prove it was in the cabin, but there's, he would have had something similar to it. Other things, we have an original desk. This was Theodore Roosevelt's desk. He wrote lots of notes, letters, wrote in a journal. He also wrote about 3 dozen books. We say about because they were published under different titles at different times. Some were combined, some were separated. He actually wrote Hunting Trips of a Ranchman at this very desk, which is, of course, about this area and his hunting trips. So that was pretty neat. Spent a lot of time at the desk, and usually in the evening, after chores and work was done, which is why it's painted white in here, helped with the lighting. Of course, he had bad eyesight in the first place. He also read a lot. We have a bookcase. We have several books in there. He really liked nature, history, read some politics. He was more lively with the politics of the day, and then also classics. They said he had a photographic memory and could read 2 to 3 books in one day, much faster than the average person. And he always had one with him. March of 96. I forgot, I'll have to double check. I think it was 86. Came back in the winter and his boat was stolen. He followed the thieves 100 miles in the middle of winter. He had Anna Karina and his saddlebags. So he always had a book with him, something to read. He also slept less than the average person, just a few hours each night. So, yeah, lots of different things. Now, of course, there's lots of luxury things in here, besides the fact, yes, the china. Typically on a ranch, you have tin plates, one, because they're easier to transport. Not going to break a metal plate, so definitely. There's lots of windows in here. Again, 4 days on the train, and then this cabin was 7 miles south. You'd have to travel that 7 miles without breaking them. I like to think he perhaps was used to it because the original family money actually came from glass in the Netherlands. But, that's not proven. That's my theory. There's reflectors behind the lamps. That's also a little extra luxury thing, help with the lighting. And those lamps actually swivel on the wall, so that's pretty neat. The fact that you have 2 stoves, as well as all the extras I pointed out in the kitchen. People definitely considered this to be a mansion, but to Roosevelt, he was really coming down. This was living like the local people to him, really roughing it. Yeah. So very different perspective. Excuse me. We also have several original items in the bedroom. There's a trunk made for long travel trips. It's leather. It's actually lined with wicker, so air can flow through a little bit. There's a shirt collar on the dresser to the right, and then there's pictures of his parents on the shelf to the left. He was very close with his family. When his father passed first, wrote about it quite often in his journal for a good year and a half, and occasionally after that. His mother and his first wife, actually died on Valentine's Day, 1884, both of them in the same place within hours of each other. So that was, of course, very devastating for him. But he did have one daughter from his first wife, and then he remarried 2 years later, had 5 more kids, was very involved with his kids after that point. The only exception might be Alice, because there was a little tension between her from his first wife and his second wife. It's a little bit of a problem there, but the White House had all sorts of little critters and pets.
One thing I want to say as Carl's filming is the fact that the green grass is very non-typical of this time of year. They've had a lot of rain, So the grass is green. Normally it's all totally brown. And they generally are feeding mostly on sage and dead grass. So it's very lush right now for this climate. I've never seen it like this ever.
Yeah, I remember last time when we were here, it was not green. That was a very dry year though.
Groundhogs on the right.
Prairie dog.
Or prairie dog.
Yeah. I think we'll get out and take a look at those boys. The prairie dogs. Yeah, try to pet one.
Can't hear it with that thing running.
Yeah, I don't know. I get further away. Getting down the hole there.
Oh, there goes him.
One standing up way out there. Prairie Dog Village.
Years ago. Campground right down here on the left. You can see the tenters right down there close to the water.
Remember when we got up in the morning, the hospital were ready to campground? Remember that?
Oh yeah, there's one up there. Probably.
He's all by himself. It probably is a wolf.
Hang on.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's some right on the other side.
I think we
Want
found
to get
bison.
over some so we can see? I mean, they're coming right off the side here.
Right on the left. The bull.
Nice big bull there.
Hey, you can open your door and just stand up. I mean, stand on the van.
That's a pretty good.
A whole bunch of them. The whole herd. Little baby one there. Hand me the digital camera. See if you can get up there too. Yeah, up there.
Boy, someone sure got a loose stomach.
Did you get a picture of a baby one? Yeah. Saw a deer cross the road way up there.
There they go. They're fighting. They're fighting down there. Come on. There they go.
Pull up some.
That's close enough.
That's the one that was slipping.
The one that's running?
Yeah.
No, he isn't. He's walking fine.
Up there on the left, up on the hill.
There goes a. That's an antelope.
Antelope.
Oh, that's what I saw across the road up
Yep, that's an antelope up there.
Just one.
No, it's muley.
It's a mule deer. You're right. Got it big ears.
Big ears. There it goes up the road.
I saw it cross the road.
Man, did we run into it, or did we run into it?
That's wonderful. There they are walking right down the road just like they own it.
Yeah.
Too bad I didn't have that thing ready. We could have had a picture of a fight.
Traffic jam. And
Look at the real little one on the left shoulder there.
Mm-hmm.
doors open. Turn the lights on.
Remember, it's her part. There, you got to shut it. Open it and shut it.
There's a car, a pickup or something way over there too. I think, oh no.
They're gonna walk right around them.
Look what's coming.
No, they're
gonna
not.
get
They say,
scared.
look at how exciting this is gonna
They're
be.
probably going to. Ooh.
Look at that big boy right straight ahead of us. The blacker one.
Oh, see, there's. Yeah.
Tongue
I would
hanging.
want-
Still behind the buffaloes going along here.
That's a big sucker down there on the left too.
Mm-hmm.
See how big that is? Ooh.
See the big, on the bottom of their legs, all that big black fur? That's the big old mature giants. Like this guy ahead of us and that guy down there, they all got that big
Yeah, right.
ruff of hair around their legs, front legs.
Mm-hmm.
These people in the small car are backing up too. All the small cars got the heck out of here.
I would have stayed there.
I don't blame them, you know, they can destroy a car. See, they're still down here.
Look at them panting there.
There's me. Oh, they can just come down in those steep places.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those great big animals, and their feet are so small. I mean, look at their bodies.
Oh, they are.
They come down anyplace.
Another.
Sure, there's a big guy coming down.
They're down in the left here, too.
There's a cow and a calf.
Man, here, look at that guy.
That's
Wow.
a big one. Look at the flies on him. No, not quite. He's about this tall.
Are there more up there, Carl?
Doesn't look.
What do I see?
Finally leaving the road.
I kind of don't think they even know where they're going. They didn't go back, shouldn't get that.
Yep.
Here comes the cow right there. Look at this big boy. This is the guy with the hurt front foot, I'll bet. Just look at him panting.
The current one is straight ahead,
This one panting.
going down into the.
No, this guy's okay. Look at him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
told
look
you,
at
the
that.
current one is straight ahead.
Yeah.
Those muscles. The solid muscle.
That's a prime right there. That guy, it's prime.
Right up.
There's another prime down there too, going down the curve. They're just feeding up there. Look at this little cow looking at it.
There's still some down here on the left.
I think that's another big bull.
They're going up over the hill up there.
Yeah, they're climbing up over that hill now. Oh, yeah, some did that way, but there's a bunch of them going up over the top now.
I'm not.
I know it, I see them. Oh, where is pecker area. He's got a problem with his, see that big bulge there? That tumor or something.
Yeah, I thought it was those two that, didn't go across the road. There might come buffalo right up there, Andrew.
Yeah, there might.
You know?
And I'll get a good picture.
He's down there.
See him? They're standing up on the rock right here. See him? There's at least 8 of them. Getting good view from right through those trees.
Yeah. There's at least 10 of them.
Yeah. 11. To the up and to the right of the main group, there's another one coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Black with a white face.
Head back up now.
to see the elk.
The Badlands Overlook.
Roger, do you want to look through binoculars?
Nope. Because I want to see everything. To see the big picture.
Oh. Pretty quiet up here.
Except for the cars in the distance. You see that little white mound there?
They're just right on top of a little
Yeah,
ridge of
that's the
another.
elk.
You got it? You recording them?
Yeah.
Is that an elk? Or is it a moose?
No, it moves.
See, only the one though.
Got a white tail.
No, that's an elk, and it's and a young one. They're right in line with each other right now.
Yep.
See now the
There's
doe or
two
whatever
of them.
it's called moving off
The
to
cow.
other side.
Cow.
Yeah, the cow.
Where do you see the horses?
I don't see any
That mound
horses.
straight ahead of us. You see the sharp peak mound?
Yeah.
Then the soft, gentle one to the right. That car coming, they're this way of the car, to the left. There was a car just drove down there. We're going to go down by them.
I didn't see any horses, but I did see the elk.
I think those are those antelope or are they mule? Looks awful small for a mule deer.
They have a white rump.
Yeah, these ones do. Yeah, those things could be what we saw
I don't
from
think
behind.
I don't think that's not.
Okay, Carl, you videotape it, and I'll go out there and I'll pet that one.
Okay.
Not this close one. The one.
Go over and grab his tail.
In pole.
Yeah.
The one with the horn?
This one right here, yeah.
Or it could be like I think it said that Crazy Horse rode a buffalo.
Oh, one coming around the back of that van. Maybe they'll rub on his car.
Yeah, the big one.
Is that the one with the horn?
I would love to see him go up and start rubbing on his mirror and rip it all to shreds.
No,
Huh?
you wouldn't want to see that.
No, I guess not.
No, does he have dust on his side, or is
I kind of think it is
or is
partly.
his hide?
I think it's both.
Torn up.
I don't know.
That is the big daddy there.
Yeah, but the other one sure left in a hurry when he comes. So this guy is the boss.
Dominant.
Yep. Kind of what I
Gee,
figured.
you should have had a slingshot. You could have shot him right in the
He'd run.
BB gun. Poot. And then watch the bee bite.
A straw? A straw and a pebble?
Oh, brother.
He wouldn't know where it came from.
No, but it would be fun to watch it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You could do it and he wouldn't know where it's from, so you'd be safe. Maybe. Get that big tongue going on.
Well, I can count at least 23, and I can't see them all.
Nope.
think those are elk. There's one right there. Some over there too. Far, far away. So I can't not get a clear shot of them though. Keep looking around, maybe we'll see some closer. We're up on Buck Hill.
Standing.
Okay, here's the elk here.
Boy, that's a long ways away.
Kind of gets pixelated, but I can see them in there.
That's pretty remote because you'll never see them from the visitor center at all. But right here, you can see them.
But it's a long ways.
Yeah,
They're,
those are
well, when you're looking through these 10 by 50s, and they're
There's
still
the
a
elk.
long ways.
Yep.
But there's a lot of them there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's where the elk are.
Maybe we'll scare them out on our drive.
That's how far
There they go.
that we are from.
There they are.
Yeah.
And we're at the top of Buck Hill.
That cow over there really getting into
Right,
it.
there's one.
Now look at him.
Licking.
Got one nursing straight ahead.
Straight ahead.
On the side of the road.
On the side of the road there.
Look at us use his horn to dig out into the dirt, and then loosens it up and then rubs it in.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that big one come walking right in front of that car, and that car would stop right now. Hey, look at all the dust on him. Sticking. Oh my God. Did you get that picture?
Yeah. He coming straight towards us. Oh my gosh.
He come right straight at us, boy.
That one bellered and that one got out of there.
He looked like he's bigger than that one.
Man alive.
That other one rubbing over there is a small bull.
Oh, right behind us. Look, it's got his tongue sticking out.
He's got his pecker hanging out.
His tongue sticking out. Great big one coming right by my window here.
God, let's not have a fight by my van.
See that cow
He
there?
might be the dominant bull.
Yeah, that
She's in
cow
heat.
there is ready to in heat or something. That's
Yeah, you
why.
can see it in
That's
there.
why her tail's up. I think.
It might be. It might be what it does on the small. I know I've read about that. I don't remember. What these people are back. They're already being.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty astounding.
He's a pretty bull, and he's coming right down that trail against that background. It's a really nice shot. There's another cave. There's 2 caves to the right of him, over against the wall.
Well, hurry up, get down there. There, he's on the bottom.
Now he's down and he's eating.
Okay, now we got elk for sure. These ones are closer, and we can obviously see that they are elk.
Maybe 3.
Well, one's looking at us.
That's a cow.
Looking right at us. See how alert it is?
Yep.
This right at the rock there, you see him? There's about 4 of them down there we've seen so far.
Elk in Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
On the bridge where you can farther.
Oh,
Quite a few.
Okay.
there's some horses.
Gotta get out. We won't scare them, will we?
No, doubt it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. That black and white, is that ever pretty? I like that one.
Up there. To our right.
Oh, what are they?
Antelope! Look at Carl. Back to your right.
Antelope.
Behind us.
Mule deer.
Oh, mule deer. Big.
Bound around.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they?
That's the way mule deer run.
Yeah.
Bounding along like jackrabbits.
There's another horse. This is a stallion, looks like. He's
I'll
close to
I'll
the
tell
road.
you real quick here.
He's looking at something that's coming up
Yep,
from
he's a stallion. That's the big boy. That's a male. That's a beautiful horse. He's a gray with a little black mane. And you
Okay, we got another horse right there. No, that one's got a baby.
got a foal.
It has a foal with it.
She just dropped that foal, maybe.
Isn't it kind of late for that?
No, not necessarily. Boy, that's a little one.
That could be.
Boy,
probably.
that's a nice little bay. He's not very old. He's not just dropped, but he's probably only a week or so. I gotta pee. Anybody coming?
There's elk right there. Okay, now we got horses right next to the road. Just beat a stallion up there, taking a whiz. There's a couple mares here. That's another mare. Mare and the baby and the stallion and another stallion up there. I think we're gonna head on now.
Some of them are sitting down over there.
Hey, look what's walking right out there. Is that a mule deer? Can't tell by the little wings that's in there.
Whoa, they're chasing each other up there. Look at that. Look at that, right?
They went right between, the one went right between the cars.
Why are they running like that?
They're probably feeling frisky.
Tail straight up is a sign of alarm, I think. Or excitement. anyway, something you don't want to see if you're
You wouldn't want to be standing out there with that.
If you're on foot nearby. You
Oh, yeah. Look at them. They are frisky.
Oh, look at him. He's getting his round. He's probably going to roll.
Boy,
Yeah,
they're really putting on a show here.
They're just grunting all over the place.
Are they?
Oh, listen.
Look at that.
There's two just banged heads.
Look at it run.
Are they chasing after a cow?
Yeah.
She's probably neat and they all want a piece of her.
They're running back over here too.
Oh my God.
They're not running at me. They don't care about me one bit.
Another bull chasing the cow.
Another big guy coming over to him now, see?
This is really neat.
Yeah. Grunting.
Oh, right out there.
Look at him fight. Look at him fight.
I know, I'm trying to get out.
Don't knock the camera on the ground. Look at him over
Coming close.
They're doing that same run bits again. And here comes the bull going right in front of us. Here comes the big guy.
Oh, falling star. Oh, I'm gone now. It was green.
Now they're all trying to run.
Yeah.
Yep.
One was trying to mount it over there.
Evidently not successful.
No, she ran away.
That's what they're doing. They're going after a female up there.
Yeah, it's,
And the big guy is trying to keep them off of it. And this is them grunt over here.
yeah, keep an eye on those two. They were looking right at us.
See that big one up there? And the little, that smaller one? He wants to take on the big one, and the big one says to him, "No, you want a piece of me? You're in trouble." And this other big guy is going up there to investigate what's going on up there.
They don't care about people too much.
They can stop it.
It really doesn't matter.
Here they come running again.
Man, this is something else.
There's
they're
two
fighting.
going.
They're fighting. They're right. Straight right. The two that are kind of closest to us straight out. Now they're just standing there.
No, of course I'm gonna miss it. Come on, guys, start fighting again.
I wouldn't be very surprised if they heard that myself. He's tossing his head and scraping the ground.
Look at him paw. They're gonna hit again. Get ready. See him pawing.
Ooh, look at that. He really tosses that deer.
There they go.
Quiet.
You can hear it crack too. Gotta be a heat up there. You know what? It's got them all goofy. Here they come. She's got her tongue out hanging, boy.
They've been running around a long time.
Man, boy.
There's two more gonna fight. Look at that guy pawing out there. Here they go running again. See her tail up? Just one of the big bull up there. Lightning out there to go. There's two pawing back there, the guy's pawing away. Oh, you kind of sit up there and rest and they'll come running again, you watch.
Up there.
Oh boy,
Some
there's
action.
three of them trying to fight together.
Yeah, I figured that was going to get the one because he was pawing the ground and throwing dirt all over it. There's still Galore out there. That was a pretty exciting show.
Mm-hmm.
He's digging away over here. Yeah, he's probably going to dig it up and then roll. There he goes.
Yeah, there's one rolling.
He's
up
rolling.
there, to the left.
He's rolling. There you go.
See this guy.
He was digging it up, and next thing you know, he went down. Once that starts, they can start all doing it. Here's one on the right doing it.
Gosh.
Dusty, they're taking their nighttime baths. Dust baths.
Look at this morning. He's snorting with every breath.
He's gonna do it again right there.
Sweet.
Nope, maybe not.
Well, time to head on.
Well, there's a bunch of them here, though. Look at this bunch right down here along the road on both sides.
Oh my goodness.
Cow standing right here.
That's good eyesight.
Look at the smell of these grass. Put your face down there.
Face down and feel it.
Actually, you use your tongue to throw it.
Down there.
As he can reach out and pat him.
But don't expect me to go out and pick up the camera.
Yeah.
We're the last ones off.